A couple of hours ago there was a small rally, perhaps about 200 people behind me here in George Square to listen to a group of political speakers, including the Scottish socialist Tommy. Now, Margaret Thatcher was not a popular figure amongst many Scots. She was associated with the decline of the steel industry and the coal industry, and with bringing in the poll tax a year earlier than in the rest of the country. And indeed, the Conservative Party went into huge decline in Scotland during her years in office and subsequently, and has never recovered from that. But I think
it rained quite heavily all morning in Glasgow, and we found just half a dozen bedraggled protesters here in George Square round the time the funeral was starting in London.
Do you think she did any good?
Not a bit of good, not a bit. I'd put a stake through her heart and garlic round her neck to make sure she never come back.
Isn't that a pretty horrible thing to say when her funeral's going on right now?
Too bad, too bad.
She pulled the ladder up behind herself and never helped another woman ever. So
but didn't she show that a woman could become Prime Minister? Nobody'd done that before.
Do you want a woman like that?
Well, Scotland hasn't quite finished with Lady Thatcher. The Scottish Parliament tomorrow will be holding a debate on the theme, there is such a thing as society, a debate initiated by the 2 Green MSPs and 3 independents. That was due originally to take place today, but the Tories persuaded them to postpone it, so it'll now be for a couple of hours tomorrow afternoon.
Once there was a wicked witch in the lovely land of Oz, and a wickeder witch that never ever was.
She filled the folks in Munchkin Land with terror and with dread, till one fine day from Kansas a house fell on her head, and the coroner pronounced her dead.
And through the town the joyous news went running, the joyous news that the wicked old witch was finally done in. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Which old witch?
Well, the wicked witch.
Oh.
Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
Oh yeah, happy day.
Wake up, you sleepy head.
Rub your eyes.
Get out of that bed. Wake up, the wicked witch is dead. She's gone where the goblins go. Below, 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 yo-ho. Let's open up and sing and ring those bells out.
Sing the news out.
Ding dong, the merry oh, sing it high, sing it low. Let them know the wicked old witch is dead.
Why everyone's glad she took such a crowning.
Getting hit by a house is even worse than drowning. Let them know the wicked old witch is dead.
And she wants people, ordinary working people, to have the same stupid belief. Steal from the poor to give to the rich. That's what this country's now about. Steal from the poor, give to the rich. Ordinary people go and think she's wonderful. She stole, she closed half the industry of Britain down.
Because I feel that we are still suffering in this country from the damage that Mrs Thatcher did in so many ways. She ruined this country. She destroyed a great deal that was good in it and has left nothing in its place.
She's a millionaire. They can afford their own funeral. I'm here and I'm not breaking the law. I'm protesting at 12 million of our tax money being wasted on a millionaire family.
I was appalled when I heard that we were expected to pay for Thatcher's funeral. Thatcher's policies of individualistic materialism ruined this country. And on top of that, to add insult to injury, we're expected to subsidise the funeral. That's why I'm here.
Baroness Thatcher. When I made my maiden speech, all in this chamber, a little over 2 decades ago, Margaret Thatcher had been elevated to the other place. But Thatcherism was still wreaking, as it had wreaked for the previous decade, the most heinous social, economic and spiritual damage upon this country, upon my constituency and my constituents. I tremble to think what the death rate for pensioners would have been this winter if that version of Thatcherism had been fully up and running this year. But by far the most dramatic and heinous demonstration of Thatcherism was certainly not only in London, but across the whole country. And greed, selfishness, no care for the weaker, sharp elbows, sharp knees, they were the way forward. The barriers that were broken down by Thatcherism, the establishment that was destroyed, the extraordinary human damage that we as a nation have suffered from, the talent that has been totally wasted because of the inability to genuinely see the individual value of every single human being. I am a generation who was raised by women. The men had all gone to war to defend our freedoms. They didn't just run a government, they ran a country. And the women that I knew who raised me and millions of people like me who ran our factories and our businesses, put out the fires when the bombs dropped, they would not have recognized their definition of womanliness as being incorporated an iconic model of Margaret Thatcher, to pay tribute to the first Prime Minister deputed by female gender. Okay, but a woman not on my terms.